Okay. How does the lane actually look then with the Storm versus the Ember? And this is a matchup that we've seen through Eternity of Dota. It was like it's kind of... Would you say this is more of a skill-based matchup?
Yeah, it's definitely a skill-based matchup, and it depends on what the players choose to skill. Like when I say players, specifically Ember. What Ember chooses to do a skill build. We've seen Flame Guard maxes, we've seen Chain maxes. I think the I will say Sleight of Fist is not really the spell people max anymore at all. There was a long time period for Ember where you'd always have Sleight max by level 7. But I think that's actually his least favorite spell now with the Chain Gang facet. It's a lot people pressure around like placing remnants, chaining from that, playing off Flame Guard and running in. It's pretty interesting to see how the playstyle just changed with pretty much just it was only the facet change, I want to say, that has affected this hero anytime recently.
Curatage. So able to step down to the low ground. Nice timing for when the smoke popped. Pretty close if Pipsqueak were in a position to maybe even get the shards from Eki. He's gone for a lot of stats as well. Double branch, double gauntlet.
The battle begins.
Be a 2 for 2 in regards to the bounties. So no brawl. Looks like Nero and Save going to be in a position to block up the bottom camp. I don't know if Radiant are going to do the same top.
First time.
I don't think they need to block the wave. I think they can play on the creeps. That's one of the benefits of having Tusk. You can just like sit on top of the creep wave and fight the enemy team there. I also think Bane level 1, like in this 2v2, they're actually significantly stronger on the side of Pipsqueak top. Like Bane, Marcy are both relatively useless. The biggest thing they could do is dispose one of these melee heroes into the tower range. And bot lane, I think I want to say both side lanes should be relatively slow. The biggest thing that can happen top is, again, like I said, they fight on the wave, and I think the Axe Tusk win that. Bot should be pretty chill. And then I think mid is the most interesting for me, because whichever mid actually starts to snowball, gets the outplays mid, gets the bit of extra CS, maybe even gets a kill with some support rotations, I think that's the team that's going to get really far ahead. And as a mid player, I always think it's really fun to have games centered around mid lane when it's a skill-based matchup.
Is there a side that you feel like has an easy time to play around the mid laner if they do start to snowball?
Probably Pipsqueak a bit, but I think both drafts are really nice for the mid laners to play. Like on the Storm side, he's got team fight from the Warlock, and he has follow up plus save from the Tusk. And then on the other side, you have kind of catch from the Bane, and then you have follow plus damage from the Muerta. So the 3v3s mid game are all really nice for both teams. It's generally just based off of who's stronger and who's weaker coming out of the laning stage.
Okay. And then, I mean, we were speaking a little bit about the skill build previously from Kiyotaka. How were you, like, if you're in this matchup, I'm sure you played this matchup or close out of, like, you've been getting close to 100 times in this matchup I've had. I feel like we always see Ember Storm. How do you like to personally play this at the moment in the lane?
I think right now I do like the max Flame Guard into this game. Level 1, I haven't done the math on it because it got way more complicated to do ever since they made it. So there's like only a percentage of the damage is absorbed instead of the full 100%. But I want to say you can tank level 1 Remnant with level 1 Flame Guard, which means, but you can't take Remnant plus Overload. So level 2 actually, if you mess up on Ember, favors the Storm, but then level 3 goes back to the Ember. So you just have to be, it's like this back and forth of level 1, decent for Ember, level 2, bad for Ember, level 3, good for Ember. And for Copy's side, I think what he wants to do is either pressure him when the Flame Guard's down on the first wave, first 2 waves, gets him denies. And usually when we see the Ember struggle, it's kind of up the process starting on the first 3 waves. That's like where Storms need to win the lane. It's chipping the Ember's health, keeping him low, forcing his bottle to be a bit slower. And if he doesn't really get this early game chip advantage, I think that Ember excels in the free farm lane.
This may be a difficult question to answer. I don't also particularly know how to pose it, but can you talk around like the situations and just how you look to set up as a mid hero to like harass, in particular in this matchup for the Storm versus the Ember, like, you know, with the aggroes and just the position, the creep wave, and I imagine it kind of just comes to like a feel and you need to kind of see the lane. But is there anything you kind of touch on for how like can you elaborate on that and how Storm can kind of play off the back of like harass?
So for Copy, he's gonna wait to see which skill Kiyotaka gets level 1, which again likely will be the Flame Guard. There's a chance it's the Slight is the other choice. But if he sees him, if he notices him go the Flame Guard, it's gonna be a lot about his range creep in particular. In order for the Ember to get it when he has Flame Guard, that means he's gonna have to like walk up and take damage. And so that means that Copy maybe gets 1 or 2 remnants as trade. Which is a very like level 1 remnant. It's such a nice spell with this new facet of the static slide. You have the remnant is pretty much guaranteed hits on melee heroes. You no longer have this thing where you have to get pulled to get remnant damage done. You can just kind of place it in front of you, get these nice hits on melee heroes. So it's specifically around the range creeps until the Ember is level 2. Like when he's level 2, then it's a bit more complicated because he can just Sleight of Fist it. And then the other side is if Copy sees that he goes Sleight of Fist, then you get to play on the melee creeps. And you're going to play off of just pressing the static remnant on the Ember on these melee creeps, doing damage on him through that way. And it's just a lot of either being next to him with no Flame Guard or being away from him with Flame Guard.
Okay. And if he level is changed, it sounds like you were touching on if he had chains, then Copy has to be more careful if he gets chains in the middle of the wave with the creeps hitting him too?
I don't think he's going to go chains. If you go chains on Ember, then it's kind of the worst of both worlds for Ember. He has no way to secure the range creep early, and then he also has no like the trading potential is not the same as a Flame Guard because he takes the full damage. Like sure, there's times where it's like, oh, the creeps will hit you, but chains is a pretty weak spell, level 1 now. It does 75 damage. So even just trading chains for 1 static remnant is you're down 25 damage worth of spells for more mana cost. Like you're spending more mana to do less damage. Yeah, there's the advantage that maybe you like are rooting him in place, but that matters way more for support rotations or for the mid game or stopping this guy from level 6 zipping around.
Почему всегда я?
Это что за пассажир?
What was your preferred way to learn heroes and learn matchups? Did you like watching replays? Did you like just playing the hero? Overthrow even? I know people overthrow enjoys, at least mechanic wise.
I played a good amount of overthrow on nouns as we would do it as a warm-up. Before games, if we had like 15 minutes only, we couldn't play a scrim or an official, we would just play overthrow to kind of get your like button clicking spells ready. But in terms of learning heroes or matchups, I think most of the time I would just play it in a pub or I would talk to one of my friends. A lot of Dota players are actually very like helpful and nice. Like end of the day, everyone's kind of a nerd and they love talking about Dota because they just play it all the time. And so you can just message people, be like, oh, why did you do this in this matchup? Or what do you think about this matchup? And I think there was also a period where I would do a lot of 1v1s versus a lot of other players. I think that started back in Genespras when I was in Southeast Asia. I pretty much added we exclusively scrim Chinese teams at the time, and I added every mid player from those teams, and I would just 1v1 them. Like at least 2 or 3 different players every single day, just to practice different matchups, practice versus the players, practice the laning stage. But I think the more and more I played, like the longer I've been playing, it became more of, I'd rather just play pubs and I have my feelings. I just need to like get the reps in, and replays are more for more strategic value. Now it's like how you move on the map as a team, where you position, how you position your hero, how you get there, or what the team is doing in order to enable you as a mid laner. And more of the individual stuff is kind of just off of what you think about the game, like your practice, the amount of times you played, the reps. But I know some players really like watching replays. I don't think there's much value in laning stage replays because it's so instantaneous a lot of the time that you have to be able to react to every different thing.
Overall, with replays, did you like go through a learning curve on like learning like what even things to watch out for in replays? Because I'm sure there's a lot of people who, you know, are trying to improve and you're trying to watch replays, but they're struggling to like kind of identify what things to even look for as a whole. Did you kind of go through phases where you're from one team to the next, or you're speaking to some people where you like learn kind of what to start watching for?
A lot of it's been with various coaches I've worked with. They all have different ideas and things they want to get out of the replays. And just watching it with different players in particular. And then for me, I usually would just watch the player perspective. Oh, and Karaomi. Oh, okay.
Okay, well, that's a nice way to come back from the pause, apparently. Nande's going to chill top and get our first blood here for Pipsqueak.
I despise pauses. Every time I'm playing pubs and someone pauses, I just get mad because I'm the type of player that just dies after every wait, Kiritich top?
No way. Is he dead? He's going to try and CS. Can he get one before he ticks out? They denied in front of him, but he won't get that last little bit of damage to bring Kiritich down into his grave. But man, I mean, the damage has been dealt.
There's a battle hunger in one.
How do you enter the lane? Get him in range of the tower. No, he didn't get the CS.
Did he get the CS?
Oh. Okay, the bodyguard.
I mean, this is so stressful. I can't believe he's like playing up like this aggressive. He's going to use special delivery, get an instant salve. One of the really nice things about this Mercy innate is specifically for the regen during the laning stage. I think any other carry would kind of be screwed here and almost want to die, but being able to instantly deliver that salve kind of fixes a lot of these trading problems. But even then, just the amount of gold that you had to lose by taking that much damage early was pretty scary. Wait, they're going to go on him again. He has no jump.
Yeah, he's pushed really far forward. And Kataomi wanted to go back to try and open up the small camp. He was able to do so, but it meant that Kiritich, he's just dead. And this salve is for... Is he not dead? Are you going to run him down? He's not dead, but where's your salve? Like, you want to bring another one out? You can't do that now with the special delivery on cooldown. So your lane is completely griffed. At least Kataomi has 4 tangos and a cell. So he's ready for the resources. But this is a lane that you were kind of questioning, right? With the Tuscan and the Axe. You thought that maybe there could be some weaknesses.
Yeah, I was a bit concerned if they weren't able to play in the wave like they are now. But I think the benefit with playing this wave versus Bane is Bane, yeah, really good at stopping these creep cutting. Really good at these like 1v1s on the side because you can turn into a 2v1 with a nightmare delay. Oh no, Kiritich.
It's just going to solo kill Kiritich, pretty much. Oh, the Marcy's not having too fun of a time. Oh, no, not the ward.
But the big concern with Bane is, yeah, these 2v2s on the wave, you aren't really that powerful. You compare it to a Jakiro, that guy does so much to attack speed slow, to do everything. And especially a level 1 Bane is pretty useless when going Brain Sap. Like, the only thing you provide is a 90 damage, basically HP swap between you and the enemy. Like, you take 90, he loses 90. And Kiritich is just... I think the First Blood 2 is helping a lot for bot, with Kez just getting that extra injection of gold. And he's top of the net worth. He's up 600 gold already on the Pangolier. So all the lanes right now are looking extremely good for Pipsqueak.
Yeah, absolutely. Mid's slightly favoring Copy, I suppose, with some of the denies that we're seeing from him. Top lane, early Cole leveled up from the Axe. We're going to try and move on forward to put some pressure onto Kiritich. Kiritich going to be in a position with the rebound, but he uses it aggressively instead. So as a result of not jumping away, he's going to continue to lose a lot of health.
At the same time, bot though, Save was trying to contest the small camp pull, and then he actually ended up going down. I think he was a bit too deep versus the Kez. Kez is such an annoying hero when you're that far in because he has a slow, he has catch, he has so many different spells. And oh no, top again.
Katomi should surely be able to kill off Ekim. He's trying to run towards Kadaro. Will not be able to get there in time. Wanted to give him the Lotus. Unfortunately, I think he misclicked for the sentry. It's okay.
Kiritich 0 and 2. He has a TP, but definitely struggling significantly more than you'd want in this lane. He does have his helm.
He
should
re-enter
be
this
fine.
lane?
Yeah, I think with the helm, he has a lot less pressure on him, but I think a 3v2 is still a lot of pressure.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, he's going to try and cut the wave. They don't have a glyph to maybe assist with the dive. We'll see. I mean, the poke with the Shadow Word, 2 points up with the Battle Hunger, along with the tag team, but the helm, it's not going to be enough by the looks of it. Kiritich is able to get the leap away, but there's no escape. This Mastery is completely nullified. Your game, it is feeling like it's almost over for him. Unfortunately, I mean, you're going to be relying on all your other cores, and the support's just going to feed over another kill by the looks of it. You need some responses coming out from Betboom. Save's going to TP through, but Save just might die. They will not actually continue to go on forward, so maybe a little bit more cautious if an extra +1 comes through. But, man, this feels horrible for Betboom.
Yeah, and right now, Kiyotaka is still not level 6. Maybe if he was there, he'd be able to like TP, rotate, counteract this dive, but struggling a bit versus the Storm in terms of XP. And he might die now because he's level 5 only.
Still without the ultimate, Kiyotaka is going to try and run towards Kataomi. Why didn't they just go for the Bane as well? I guess Copy doesn't really have the mana. They importantly want the Power Rune as well. We won't get it.
Anything but a haste. Okay, well, I don't know about anything. He probably lives there with Invis Rune. Probably a shield. Probably a regen rune.
It's alright, it works. I get the point.
But
still lucky, right?
Still lucky. Haste was the guaranteed safety one for him.
Absolutely.
Pretty annoying. And I mean, Pipsqueak's just out-laning Betboom, which, again, that is the strength of Betboom as a team. It is specifically the laning stage, the early game, all of their players focused on the lane. Save says they have very individual players that they talk a lot about their laning stage. They want to win these lanes. And I don't even think necessarily Pipsqueak picked purely laning heroes. They have a well-rounded draft. Just, I kind of think getting...
Kidara's level 6! Huh?
Save is level
7 minutes in, bro! What's that? So, they're even going to get the wisdom as well. So, but the levels will further be more of a problem here.
They might try
double
to
wisdom it
push
should be
this
for
tower.
Radiant. That's crazy.
Because now the Golem can just tank the tower. They cut the wave already. Kez is connecting on, pushing it with his level 6 too. This is like Pango's weakest is this level 5 timing. When everyone's hitting their level 6s, you can't really fight into them. It looks like they're going to give up any tower pressure in trade for guaranteeing this Muerta kill. So hopefully they do get it. Which looks like they will.
Long range grapple. Nande, you gotta finish your kill.
That was... Oops.
Yeah. And that kind of pulls Nande away from right-clicking down the tower as well. And well inside the river.
Miro's kind of in danger.
A fight here for the... Okay. Yeah, Miro looking to try and get the kill over towards Kadaro. Not going to be able to do so. Nande, quick Raven's Veil under the stun coming out. Now over towards mid we go. Kiyotaka. The call's going to come out shortly. That will stop him from escaping. But the silence is there. But Copy, can he get out of range? But the dead shot from Save. Copy's...
Oh, that was the worst possible time to disconnect.
Jeez.
I think he's fine. Actually, so I'm pretty sure if he didn't get dead shot and he disconnected there, he would have died. Because he would have been standing still inside the Muerta silence.
Sure.
But thankfully for him, he got
you DC?
pushed out. I didn't DC. I'm still in game.
Huh. You let him I mean, he's probably going to live, right? You pop Fairins.
Yeah, he should be fine here. He can Fairy Fire. He can Zip. He might even be... there's no way he's greedy and goes for the Bane, right?
No.
You sure?
What's Bane got? He's got Brain Sap up. Surely not. Does what? You want him to do this?
Let him use fairy. He lagged.
Are you okay?
It's fine. Just play. I mean, Colpy doesn't know this, but Save did just auto attack, so he's in like the little cooldown period because of attack speed. So he's definitely not going to get. He probably won't even get a hit off before the zip. And Colpy's completely fine here. It looks sketchy, but still, I think just very good trades for Pipsqueak, right? They trade both of their supports for 2 cores. There's like a 2 for 2 in the end of the day. He actually is looking for the Bane. Wait, he messed up.
Colpy, what are you?
I know, like I even said.
No, he's got 6. No way, Colpy, what are you doing? Is there anyone going to TP in for Yayo?
Pangolier,
Looks like
it's a long
Miro's
TP.
going to
It's
try
such a long
TP.
TP.
No way, dude. What is happening in this game?
Oh my god, he actually went for it. I was like,
God.
joking, you know? It was like pause. You're like, oh haha, this Bane can die.
Ah, Colpy.
All right, now across the map, it's a 3 for 3. Still, I think favoring Pipsqueak purely because Miro's TP mid enabled Kez to take the bot tower, which now means that Kez is going to be able to gate top with this little extra space and potentially make Kiritich's game even worse than it is right now.
Are scanning.
It looks like Kiyotaka's kind of in the area. He's level 8 now. He's got the max flame guard. He's got the 2 points in chains. I just, with Miro not having TP for 20 seconds. Okay, Nande's going to back off. They don't want to force too crazy of a play.
Dire's top tower.
But still, Axe just getting free pressure on this tier 1 top.
Let's see if they're going to be fast enough to be able to contest the power, and they still hold their high ground observer ward on Radiant. I have the rune as well. Rock's going to connect. They get the Vortex drag back. But the rune's going to be bottom spawn. So they won't have this advantage inside the team fight as they still favor Veteran pretty heavily. Rock wasted, which is a big opening early on.
Was that a miscommunication by Pipsqueak? Because they press the golem on the Ember. The storm jumps the Ember, but then Eki chooses to snowball the Bane instead. Maybe he was scared of a grip, but I think not just committing on trying to burst this Ember 100-0 means that, you know, you split up, you don't get either kill. And ooh, a nice bounce by Save.
What a placement. Once again, I mean, Save is always on point with the calling. Now with the Bane's going to be able to reposition, put himself in a safe spot to use that Fiend's Grip. Even Kiritich wants to TP in just in case, but really, it's nice the fact that he's able to get a little bit of experience. He's still only level 6 for the Master, but has the Helm on now.
All right, I need to make a quick comment before something crazy happens because of it. Axe does not have a skill point in ult. He's currently 143. I think there's a chance he goes 144. You think... Let's see. I want to see him go. Okay. I was going to say, if he goes 144, what if he just has to fight and then he doesn't get a kill because of no ult? But fortunately for him, I don't think he had
They're
that
reading
opportunity.
this.
Dire are scanning.
Radiant
Or I
are
think
coming.
he's walking up.
Anticipating a potential move over towards the Axe, but yeah, like you said, he's actually stepping up forward inside the lane. Eki's going to be a little bit too late with the snowball save. Gadaro is here. You'd love a rock when they're all clumped up, but unfortunately, they're going to have to rely on the Fatal Bonds instead, but that's not enough.
Nice chains.
Now looking to chain it for more. Kiyotaka's going to hold 2 into place. Nande tries to TP in with the Raptor Dance. They're going to get enough lives still back. It's not enough. Kiyotaka assisting with a double kill onto Kiritich, but Goppy doesn't have mana to get away, but the chains is there. Kiyotaka plays him like a fiddle. The spell casting from them was really required to get them back into this early game. It was a lead that was starting to be accumulated for Radiant, but we are back to even.
And that's just a snowball. I think Axe, maybe they were reading it. They were kind of walking there in Pipsqueak getting prepped, but I think he had to bait it out a bit more, and he's getting gone on again. Not back-to-back deaths for the Axe.
Oh, man. Is this a game where, because we saw previously like what Melream was able to do on the Ember Spirit, like, how do you see this as an Ember game as well? Because already that fight, I feel like showcased the potential of Kiyotaka, and this is one of his better heroes.
I mean, this is such a good Ember game. I think this is one of the ones where he can have an immense amount of pressure. I think sometimes there's a concern of Kez versus the Spirits because you do have a silence, you do have a bash, you kind of have different mobility, but I think once he gets like a BKB or Shivas, and even when you're this far ahead, just the Kaya Sanj will give you enough. That Kez right
straight
here.
into the 3-man smoke. Copies, what are you going to be able to do? Was considering about zipping to deal with the Fiend's grip, but didn't want to put his own body on the line, valuing himself instead. So Nande is going to go down, who was having a good start, but with the death up top into that second death, now puts him... look at the Masters network. Like, Kiritich isn't that far behind, all things considering.
Definitely climbing back into this game after a pretty disaster of a laning stage. And I think a lot of it kind of boils down to these last two axe deaths. When you have a core that's just so far ahead post laning stage and then they die 2 times in a row, it just means that these resources you poured in, right? The Tusk being top, the Warlock taking the gate, even the Kez gating towards his lane at some points to help take this tower. A lot of the resources kind of get given back to the enemy team. And now I think, sure, you actually beat Bepum at their game. You won the laning stage, you played good, but now it's all gone. And now it's an even game. It's still not what we usually see from Bepum at this position in the game. We don't usually see them be only even, but it's still just a much better game state than Bepum honestly deserve after the laning.
Yep. Absolutely. They put themselves in a position where it's going to be equal footing heading towards the mid game. There was some concerns on also the the levels from the supports, but that's fixed itself. Save is 10, Kato Omi's 8, so no problems there. And they're even starting to clump up around the mid lane. Radiant are making their own little move into the bottom side of the map, but no one on Dire is here. They were getting a read that maybe someone was farming the area.
I want to say the fun thing about this mid game is that neither of these carries buy a farming item or play for the late game. Kez just goes Desolator as his first item, and then it's like a Manta or an Axe is his next. Marcy on the side is just going BKB Rush after the Helm of the Dom. So this game is probably going to be a lot about these early game team fights with 5v5s, the carries showing up. And as of now, I kind of like the Ember in this game and his impact, having this early vessel, having this Kaya. He has 1,400 gold plus a Kaya. Sure, his Kaya's dead, but it's going to come out. That's a Kaya Sanj. He'll probably have her in the 17-minute mark. That it's a bit too much HP, especially with random team fight silences. With the Muerto, you have a bit of save from the Bane. The Pangolier is going to be rolling around. I think there's a lot of annoyances that Pipsqueak have to deal if they want to kill the Ember in particular. Whereas he kind of has a free reign in the fights to do pretty much anything he wants.
But do you feel like he's got Scepter actually queued up for Kiyotaka here after the Kai? Do you feel like this is the correct decision for him to maximize the current position and end game state?
I would have liked the Kaya Sanj probably. I think having that HP from the Sanj in particular is matters a lot. He already has the Kaya. Let's see. Yeah. Oh, he bought Shard actually. In fact, on the Ember. So a bit of, I would say, a greedy. This is like the snowball build, right? Like you're expecting to get all of your damage in for free rather than have to ever deal with getting initiated on yourself. But it is one of those things that's a high risk play. If he does get jumped by the Axe, if he does get jumped by the Storm, the Tusk, I think that he is a bit too squishy that it might be hard for his team to save him, and he probably won't be able to save himself.
Top lane, Kataomi is setting up under the tower with Kiritich going to be nearby as well. There will be a quick response out of Eki, but the snowball's going to be fast enough. Really nicely done from Eki instantly there, but Kiyotaka's thinking about getting involved. Now, he's got to think twice. Miera also wanting to try and move in with the Rolling Thunder. Nande, but the turn's going to be there. They've got the Unleash. Kiritich is more than happy to be able to go for this engagement. Now, Kiyotaka falling a little bit low in regards to the mana, but the Rock trying to get dropped as well. They're going to have the Vortex drag back. Cole, can he get in range? Yayo run there now. Kiyotaka's got another one over to the right side. Copy's still got enough mana. The protective for the Glimmergate momentarily. Kiritich to the rescue. Kiyotaka steps out of the right side. It's going to be careful of the Fatal Bonds. It takes him last second. It was about to expire. Kiritich almost was able to get Ember out of danger, but just the last half a second.
Did his team get him killed there by staying in and fighting the Warlock ult?
I think so. I was looking at the Ember.
Yeah, he was just barely living. He's popping the flame guard. He's pinging his team. I think maybe if he gets like a sleight of fist on the creep camp, something like that, just to survive like a little bit longer. But I mean, the fact he's able to survive that long, bait the storm in, that was that was the shard. To be honest, to give him full credit, that was all in the shard, just resetting the remnants. Every time he gets a kill, he gets a new charge, and just so much mobility from the Ember in these fights.
That will even more so be the case with the Scepter being worked on. It's going to take a little bit of time, but dude, I love the action that we're getting out of this game. And you said it as well with the cores that we have, the carries that we have. They are not the late game carries. They have these they have these fighting items. We already see both sides kind of ready to go as well. Bedroom straight to top. It's going to be Yayo and Eki hand in hand. They had a lane ward that I believe was able to see Kiritich. So playing a little bit more on the back foot. Maybe even this deep jungle ward that's up for the next 30 seconds was able to see some of the movements as well.
They do have Lotus on the Axe, which I think Yayo's going to be able to use pretty nicely this game. It's going to remove the Vessel Chains from the Ember. It's going to hopefully be able to maybe stop a grip from the Bane. Even just like the Silence from the Muerta, there's a lot of different things you can purge and prevent. So that's a pretty nice kind of fighting tool that they're going to be able to use. It. Ooh, this is a kind of honestly a sick Roche by Pipsqueak.
Bedroom, they don't have the read at all. I mean, they continue to try and set up a formation over towards the Tormentor, but Radiant will take it for free, and they don't really use any resources as well. So now they have an ages for this fight, and a fight that's probably going to happen instantly. They got to get the Tormentor, they got to get out. Do you just zip in if you're copy as soon as you see the Tormentor claimed? Because they're going to try and tip. They're going to go through the portal instead of TPing. But Kiritich stuck around. What did Kiritich stay here for? Everyone, four people just ran straight to the portal, but he was kind of, I don't know, he was looking to the other side of the map. He was doing something else. Kiritich.
They had to know exactly where Pipsqueak was. They did Roche. You know, Roche is right next to Tormentor, guys. It's right there. And giving away a free kill, like, yeah, you get the Tormentor, but Kiritich, especially with having a bit of the struggle of the game he has, every one of these deaths is setting him back a little more. Fortunately for him, he did recover, so he's kind of even with everyone, but still, it's like you want to be able to get ahead on the Mercy carry. You want to be able to kill these heroes within your BKB as fast as you can.
Mid lane. Ooh. Nande's going to run into Kuretaka. We'll be able to pop the Raven's Rail for the purge, but still is taking so much damage. Yayo jumps into the core. Meanwhile, Copper's going to get the jump on the back on as well, preventing the Nightmare save, so Kuretaka is just gone. Beautiful read from Copy that he needs to deal with the Bane to make sure the Nightmare trick isn't there to get the Ember out to rescue. Now Copy's trying to use the remaining mana that he has to get up towards save.
He has no mana though.
Still, they're going to be careful. Kiritich with the jump in, but Copy, he's got the Aegis. Looks like they'll turn their attention over towards Yayo. Kiritich has got enough damage here with the Unleash. Now Copper's going to die as well inside the pit. Radiant.
Can he time the stun on Marcy?
How are you going to respond?
He does.
But the jump's going to be there at perfect timing, but Eki will protect him. Snowborn to the zip away. But the BK was used a little bit unnecessarily from Kiritich, with the shards will block save from retreating to the high ground. If they got any stuns, Centaur will just step in range. Eki's TP is going to be cancelled, and Kiritich finds a +1 as well, as Kadaru is unable to find escape avenue.
I mean, a pretty big turnaround mid, right? It all starts with, I think, Kiyotaka going a bit too aggressive there on the mid lane. Sure, Kez is burning so fast. He didn't have his BKB at the time.
Poppy bottom? Poppy, what? What was that? How did that miss? Bro, this game's insane. Oh my god. Let me see this again. So, dude, no way.
Just that little tiny step to the right.
Oh Copy.
I mean, Copy's popping off. I had concerns
Absolutely.
for Storm in this game, but 6-3-2, he has the Manta finish, he has the Kai Sange finish, so he's got the 3 swords. Unfortunately, Trident is no longer in the game, but still has like a Dispel. You can remove the chains on the Ember. And a lot of HP as well between these 2 items. He has 10 strength from the Manta, he gets 16 from the Kai Sange, he gets 250 health from his 15 talent, so it's like all this stacking up actually makes the hero pretty tanky, and that it's just Manta's a strangely good item on Storm. I think you wouldn't really expect it or think of it, but attack speed gives Storm a lot. He right clicks a lot getting into these fights, especially when you have this like little extra movement speed. You can stay on top of people and use less mana on zips. So
interesting. Yeah.
I just like kind of the evolution. I think a lot of it started with the carry Storms doing this, and now the mids are like, oh, this is good. Like sometimes the carry players kind of cook.
See how Copy's going to be able to perform inside this team fight. Eki with the high ground. Twinkle pop and Kiyotaka's just going to chuck out a random remnant, a dead shot as well. Just kind of scouting tools. Trying to get what little information they can. Any advantage to be able to determine the positioning of Radiant, but either side will kind of start to split away. 3 to bottom, 2 to top. What is the smoke at that stage of the game for either side? Because there's no real big objectives on the map. Everyone's kind of in a position where you're ready to force a fight.
They're smoking on the power runes. So pretty much, let's say objectives didn't exist. So like there's no Roshan and there's no Tormentor. There's 2 timings you get the smoke on. It's power runes or siege creeps.
Can you actually get through the chains though? They got the dead shot. They even get a glimpse of Eki too. Let's see if Copy's zip is far enough away. And yeah, that's the case.
But yeah, it's pretty much siege waves are the biggest one because you get tower pressure. That's the objective you can pick, and then power runes are the other choice. And now Kiyotaka is going to keep going forward. Is he going to get the dead shot? He does.
Dead shot again. Now, the rest of Radiant close to Yayo.
I don't think
Shadow Word's going to be out. Kadara might have to use the rock if they want to save him, and they will not opt for the chaotic offering.
Nande's in a bit of danger. He might get forced to use his BKB if he's not careful.
The Raven's Veil instead. The arrow in as well.
I'll be honest, I'm pretty sure people like still don't have it ingrained that Raven's Veil is a purge.
Yeah, this is
like,
a insane
with the
spell.
dead shot, with the roll, they were kind of playing on the fact that he was kind of in the same position that he was, which I find funny. I don't know. No one really gets this hero that well.
Rock. You used to actually cancel the Fiend script, so you didn't use it previously to protect your axe, but this time you feel you want to try and keep the support alive. Being more down to the south, Copy almost gets solo killed by Kiriptich, which he had struggled without a doubt to start this game, but Kiriptich is up top in the net worth. Basher, crit stick, and this is scary for Copy. That was a showcasing the ability of the Marcy to potentially be able to blow him up 4-0, and that's going to get even the probability of that's going to be even higher as this game goes on.
Yep, Nande finishing his Ags though, which from my understanding of the hero, that's like his big timing as Kez. Being able to press all 8 of your spells, switching between the 2 disciplines, pretty much back and forth. It's when the skill cap goes up significantly, but so much damage if you can combine the spells. Like being able to use Echo Slash plus the Falcon Rush, being able to use Raven's Veil into a Raptor Dance, I would say like are the big combos. And just, I don't know, it's really fun to watch, but it's also so frustrating to play versus if the Kez knows what he's doing.
Well, Nando's, but I think this is the 3rd Kez game that we've seen him play, so we've seen 1 win and 1 loss yesterday versus Falcons. We'll see if the reps have been enough to put him in a position to get the team over the finish line, because currently there's still been a little bit left to be desired so far from him inside the fights, whereas Kiritich, 7-5-7. Still, again, like I was just saying previously, the lanes was a little bit difficult for him, but his involvement inside the most recent fights has been solid.
Yep, most definitely. Top of the net worth. once he has this Daedalus, that's Marcy's like one volley of punches, you're dead. Then you move to the next target. Copy was in danger last time he got jumped solo by the Marcy, almost dying just in the one stun. So this Daedalus is going to be some crazy timing that is pretty scary for them to deal with. I think Kez has the ability to kind of kill Marcy quick enough, especially if there's an axe call to back you up. But again, Bedboom have so much layering in their team fight. They have Pango Roll to protect. They have a Fiend's Grip that might annoy you for a second or two. Ember's going to be constantly poking the backline, canceling the Tusk Blinks. The Warlock, he won't be able to really press his Upheaval. And it is tough, but I think a lot of it is on Nande. And back again, I would say the Copy Storm has to be able to deal with probably the Bane, most importantly, and not get gripped himself and not let him grip his cat.
Oh man, this high ground ward. They're going to be running up straight into Dai, but I don't think Dai actually saw the smoke. Eki with the blind jump in the middle. The Corn's going to make it a little bit frustrating now, but the Rolling Thunder's going to crash and find Nande over towards the south.
The grip.
It's a great rock from Kadara to be able to disrupt the teamfight to enable Nande to go to walk, but the Kez is just gone. Kiritich, a couple of punches, 1-2, goodbye. And now with the Ember's going to try and catch up to Yayo. Yayo's going to be able to escape, but I mean, the Kez is not showcasing his ability to win out on versus the Marcy.
And even Kiyotaka, he did a really aggressive scan that the axe popped, but wasn't able to get the remnant timing in before the blink on the axe. And still, even for that, that was a 3-for-0 trade. I think Eki, he blinked in kind of too aggressively, and then they don't save the rock for the grip. If you look, the rock's just slightly off the mark for the Bane. That means he gets a full duration Fiend's Grip on the Storm. Sure, Storm lives, but he's not able to help his team. He can't help the Kez. He can't deal with the Marcy. And Kiritich, definitely just stronger hero this
Copy.
game.
Has he got enough mana to get away? 21?
I think he's fine. What about Kiyotaka, though? Okay. Everyone's just kind of having fun down here. Yayo, though.
Yeah, I think the fun's going to be over pretty shortly here for Yayo.
And I haven't mentioned this, the Ags Muerta. That's so much extra random team fight, extra just kind of fears that they can do. I don't know. The Bedboom team fight is looking scarier and scarier. And it's kind of feeling like the window of options that Pipsqueak has is getting small. I think Nande really has to be able to step up in these fights and get a lot of work done with his Kez.
How do you need to enable him inside the fight, so? Because it really felt like that rock should have done it from Kadar.
I think he has to be able to use the rock to cancel the grip. Like, he rocked and it almost caught the Bane, but it didn't. And just that small, it was like 50 units, maybe 100 units from catching the Bane. Could have potentially lost in the game. At least, thankfully for them, they're able to trade Tormentor for the rush, so they get something out of it. But even then, 12,000 gold, and age now for Kiritich. His Abyssal is just on the horizon. He's about 1,000 gold away from it. I'm stressing if I'm Pipsqueak. Because I don't even know if they scale better. In particular, I think Ember, I think Pango, I think Marcy, all three of these heroes scale extremely well. Yeah, your heroes do scale, but if both teams are scaling, it's whichever team has the more gold to scale faster.
At the moment, that is heavily favoring Dai unless something changes pretty shortly, but the Age's advantage, it's looking like it's going to be pretty tall order for the boys on Pipsqueak, who had a very close affair in this game towards the mid-stage. Now, Copy, we find, as the man to be able to get out of the chains, or a couple of heroes that were lurking nearby towards the triangle, but they're going to have to give up this kind of mid and top side of the map. So T2 top will go down. They'll importantly lose the triangle control as well. So the outpost is going to go Bedboom's way. More than likely, we'll look to chain this into a secondary tower mid. And look, just look at the wards as well from Bedboom. Like, it's a really... Mantis not good enough for Copy at the moment. They're going to be able to get the call, but the snowball fall will be there as well. But the damage is the thing in question. Kiyotaka's okay, but the call and Copy gets a zip away, but he's out of resources. They see Copy on the TP. They do not, but everyone else but they're not going to be able to make it. But the dead shot clips over towards the Tusk. They're going to try and BKB TP. Can they get Kuratic in range? They can. He's got the Abyssal already completed. Yayo's gone along with the Tusk without buybacks.
I will give compliments to the chef of Eki. He knew that the fight was a complete disaster and actually sent his courier from base to pick up the gem. So thankfully for Pipsqueak, at least they don't lose the gem. They still are going to be able to keep it. But honestly, Bedboom don't even need wards. That all the vision advantage in the world, I don't really know is going to matter if they're knocking up your high ground. That's a glyph used, but Kuratic feeling the strength of his hero. He still has the ult. He still has the BKB. I don't think really anything had to be used there for that go. And Kuratic gets to just dive.
Just a long range catch from them. Kiyotaka with the Scepter. Kuratic can easily follow. You got random dead shots as well. With Save about to have Octarine pretty surely. That's going to be spammed even more frequently. And that will guarantee a full set of barracks mid. They're even going to look to try and move on 4 down to bottom. Age is still for another 2 minutes here on Kuratic.
I think he's trying to finish his Daedalus on the Kez. He's 400 gold away, but maybe you just have to sell your Falcon Blade. You're not going to get it unless you sell.
Rolling deep. Is he actually really going to be able to get the
He's
kill?
Just dead.
Just a poking Eki. Can he get inside the base? Kiyotaka, his Ember Spirit. And now with the instant call for copy, Nande's going to try and enter the fight, but Nande gets bashed up. He'll move on forward with the Raven's Veil. Now it has also the Raptor Dance. The Fiend's grip over towards the right side, though, means that Kuratic is going to be able to get the return kill. They're even trying to catch up to Nande, but they will not be able to. So it's been an okay defense at the moment, but the resources, along with the spells, aren't there, and shortly, copy is just gone. Health pool evaporated. Dude, what a performance from Kuratic to just be able to, like, not get flustered from the lane, you know, from the death after that long pause that we had as well. I mean, the performance we've seen from him inside the fights, he's looked great.
Yeah, and I think also the Embers that we've kind of seen today have done so much as vision and control in the backline, make it so hard, and Kez just
Nande
doesn't have the HP
get the Raptor Dance. Oh, but the Spirit Vessel just stops some of the life still coming back. G's are going to be caught, and Pipsqueak. It was a competitive game for a majority of this, but Bedboom just, I mean, the last, 3+ team fights heavily going their way results in a 35-minute victory for them.
And I think, and then even if they start slowly losing the map post-laning stage, they get to use that kind of early game advantage in order to enable the greediness. But last game, they didn't really have that. And the benefit of their draft last game, kind of what we said was, it was constant fighting. Ember, faster paced mid than Invoker. Marcy, faster paced carry than Abba. Even their offlaner was definitely faster paced than Doom. Like, I feel like all of their cores this game are just slower paced. And that, for me, is worrisome if the lanes kind of go the same way that they did.
All right. Set up all off the back of the lanes here, and we saw previously that was favoring Pipsqueak, and that was enabled though off the back of the kill that we saw from Nande to start the game with first blood here for the Kez. Copy also had a very good showing. It'll be a bit of a different matchup for him against the Invoker. It's the Invoker that's gone the Wex facet as well. So I know when we briefly spoke about it, you said you're actually a big fan of this. So we'll get to see it in this game.
I think it's actually probably better than Exhort this game in particular for a couple reasons. But I think Mirror's okay. It's just a nice, good amount of damage. I think in this game in particular, it's good for 2 main reasons. One is that you have no stun set up in your silence for easy stun strikes. Like, both of your supports kind of have stuns, but they're low duration. And I think that the kill threat is pretty low. And then 2 is, depending on his build, which I will say most of the Wex ones don't go Vessel. But if he does go Vessel, this is a really good Vessel game versus the Dragon Knight, versus the Pugna in particular. Even the Underlord to some extent. But unfortunately for that build, most of the Invokers I've seen with the Wex facet go just Ags Rush. They go double null, they go brown boots into an Ags.
Is that how you like to play this build when you go the Wex faster?
I think it's the best. I think that the Ags, surprisingly, there was a lot of complaints when they first added the triple fast and the new Ags upgrades, which was you're spending 4,000 gold on a farming item, because that's kind of what it does. Like, you one-shot waves of tornado, which is really nice, to be fair. Normally you have to press like tornado plus a deafening blast, kind of in the mid to late game. But you have this 10 talent, which is a tornado cooldown, and then you get the orb at 15, and it's a lot of damage that actually consistently comes out. Like tornado plus a cold snap with an EMP under, that's at that point that you're getting an Ags, it's like 70% of heroes' health if they're stuck in there for a second or two. But it's something that we'll have to see. I think it's also not the most common one. Usually everyone's used to just Sunstrikes getting it. And ooh, Underlord.
Yayo bottom. Yeah, first blood's going to be given over towards the boys on Betboom. Yeah, he's going to take a decent amount of damage as well. Katsuomi given the shield over. He's able to continue to play aggressive and up in the face. So, you know, this is something that you mentioned right here. A lot of attention needs to be put on the lanes, and already a much better and different start from Betboom's safe lane.
Yeah, I'm surprised that he goes down in the Underlord here. I think it was him that actually played this exact matchup, which was Underlord versus DK yesterday. I think it was the game versus Falcons, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, Underlord,
and
Abba, yeah.
He was crushing that lane. Abba had to leave the lane. He lost his tower pretty much solo to the Underlord at like 7 minutes into the game and had to go jungle. And so just the fact that he goes down once is probably going to enable Abba to get his phase boots, early pressure. The minus armor from the Venge is also really nice to help deal with this large HP pool. And this lane probably won't get much easier for Pipsqueak. I think it's going to keep getting harder and harder. Also, Lion is not really well known for kind of its laning strength. So some concerns are already being raised for kind of this early game for Pipsqueak. And then even I would say for top, which is another pretty strong lane for the side of Betboom team, they're struggling a bit. And actually, surprisingly enough, he's lower net worth than the Underlord. But I feel like it's not going to scale as badly for the Doom as it does for the Underlord, if that makes sense. Like the first level or two of Doom, he's usually relatively weak, especially when DK is such a strong laner. But at this level 4 timing, maybe level 3-4 timing, that's when you really start pumping out the damage when paired with the Hoodwink. But this is the lane that I think Pipsqueak really want to win. I think this is the one that you pick Dragonite, Pugna, both extremely strong laners for their roles. This guy needs to do good on Nande. He needs to, I don't know if he needs to kill the Doom, but this 400 gold lead is exactly what they want out of the laning stage.
We will see they're going to be making a bit of a go on to Nande. Also, bottom Eki took a bunch of damage as well. So he's still got 2 Tangros to work with, but Betboom is showcasing that their safe lane is able to put a lot of pressure into the off lane on Pipsqueak. Meanwhile, mid is looking pretty decent for Copy, but kind of expected with the Quaswex especially, and the early levels in the Invoker.
Yeah, I think this is definitely a Storm favored matchup, at least these first like 4 minutes. The big things are like how the kind of water runes play out at 2 and 4. It looks like they're both going to be kind of uncontested mid, which I think benefits Storm significantly. If he wasn't able to get those water runes, he loses all his mana to the EMP, which lets Invoker just have nice trades with the longer range of auto attacks. So going really good for Copy right now. And interestingly enough, he is going for the Urn on Invoker, which I'm happy about. I think this is a really good Vessel game. It's surprising that he went the Wex facet, because when I see people go Vessel, they actually go the Quas facet. For, I think it's the Ice Wall Ags, which is really nice. Ooh, Becky. 18 health after the Wave of Terror.
So you were saying that they go the Quas facet with the...
Yeah, I think the Quas one, because you're playing a lot more for control, the Vessel feels a bit better. Whereas with the Wex, you're playing slightly to scale more. Whereas Quas technically I think scales the worst out of all three facets. So going an early game item makes a bit more sense on that. But I still think Wex is still good if you go the Vessel. Like the EMP shard, in my opinion, is the best of the three shards. Having that like little bit of extra control, guaranteeing the EMP hits. It even does more damage. I think it like almost doubles the damage EMP does with the mana burn. It goes from 60 to 90. It is just all amazing for Invoker.
Yeah, I've seen some instances where I've been like super surprised about the damage that EMP has done.
Yep, it's like a 600 damage nuke when you have full points in Wex, which is pretty absurd just to do that much damage and burn that much mana at the same time. Like in particular, if you ever see the matchup versus Medusa, she can just die to a single EMP in the mid game.
Both side lanes seeing the supports continue to take a bit of a beating. When Eki's not having too fun of a time, Save is also just solo killing Kadaro. So he was a problem on the Muerta previously, and that's going to continue to be the case. And Kataomi snipes Eki as well with a wave of terror. I think he was looking for a deny, and they still had... Dude, the ward was... no way. 2 seconds left on the ward that they placed for the initial kind of bounty rune, and... Man.
I mean, the laning stage is going a lot better for Bepim team, which it was my concern going into this game number 2 was, sure, Bepim did win. They kind of clawed their way back, but with this draft, it was a greedier draft. It was a draft that needed to win the lanes or that they might get outpaced too much by Pipsqueak, but getting these lanes out of the way, getting kind of surviving is good enough for their draft. But to give credit to Pipsqueak, the Storm and the Dragon Knight are very far ahead of kind of their laning opponents. Like the Dragon Knight's up 500 gold, almost 600 gold over the Doom. Storm's up about 150, 200 gold, which is not that much versus the Invoker, but still getting any of these small advantages, I think are going to help them a lot because they do kind of need to keep up the tempo. I think specifically Nande is probably going to need to be active in this game. And just, it's like the net worth lead that he has on the Doom has to get used at some point.
Are you concerned though with kind of the strong lanes apparently that we're seeing in the side lanes for Radiant, and then shortly like Kiyotaka might even be considering about starting to be active and ganking, you know, both top and bottom? Is this going to prove to be too much for Dire to handle?
Somewhat. I think Kiyotaka's gonna have a bit of a slower game, not only because of the laning stage, but because of the items that he chose to buy. He went the double null, which means, and he went the earn now, so he has no boots, and rotating on Invoker with no boots kind of feels so bad because you're such a slow hero that either you have to TP to the lane and then the walk back to mid is just takes forever, or you have to walk to a side lane, and by the time that you show up, you know, you've aged like 16 years, you're an old man now, and they've kind of walked away from your gank. Oh, it's safe though.
It's going to push Save away.
The regen
rune copy. It's going to be able to pick this up. Can he get the regen rune off in time before Kiyotaka is going to kill him, believe, and activate, or does he want to hold it? Blind's going to try and give him some meta, but this is just level 1 copies.
He didn't activate it.
Right, Kiyotaka does secure the kill, and yeah, it is. Oh, but holding regen apparently for the next game. He didn't want to use it, and Kiyotaka's he's happy that's the case because he gets a double and he gets some earn charges.
Well, what was that?
It really felt like if he activates it, there's some.
I mean, he would have been fine
because they were pretty low on Radiant.
I mean, at the very least, he would have been able to live. Like the HP regen and mana regen would have let him jump once, and now I mean, I'm shocked.
Let's see what Copy's going to be able to do off the back of the respawn. Instantly towards the top side of the map. Katsuomi with the stun's going to hold them back, but it ain't really going to do too much here. Now it's on the Kadaro that pushes past the tower, and he's going to run into a blockade of Kiyotaka that is trying to ego Kataomi away from the wisdom.
He did.
They could get it.
But I think the reason why he did that is because Save actually ended up stealing the enemy wisdom rune. There was so much kind of pressure that Pipsqueak was putting on mid and top that Yayo was killed by Save rotating bot and his wisdom rune was taken. So now Save is pretty much same XP as the Underlord. This guy who we're like, usually we see him have a good lane, is now struggling a lot, and it's starting to kind of snowball, I think, in the favor of Beppu.
And we've seen what this lineup is able to do when they start to get an early lead. The game can snowball incredibly quickly. And so important for a lineup as well, considering, again, they have some super greedy offlane cores. So if the game didn't scale like this or snowball, then it potentially would have been able to get out of control. It's still not in danger levels just yet. Top lane. Ek is able to get a nice two-man stun.
Nice
Tornado will still actually be on the mark from Kiyotaka. So with a spell casting key from him, almost guaranteeing a kill onto
Kind of a long chase,
Kidari.
though.
Copy is going to show up though with a zip over the top. He's still got Eki to play with. Even Nande is going to tip in. Can he get in range to stop Kiyotaka from escaping? They won't be able to do so, but they surely should get Katsuomi. And that'll be a galvanized stack here for Copy.
Thankfully, I think Kiyotaka definitely went a bit too far, and that could have been a big punish if they were able to get him. But gets out, takes the 1-for-1. They trade the Pugna for the Venge, and to give credit to Pipsqueak, Nande's having an amazing game so far. He's top of the net worth. He's destroyed the Doom in the lane, and he's trying to get active in these kind of plays and run around using his hero. But every time that you're this top net worth hero and you join the fights without getting any kills, it's going to feel real bad, especially if the other team smokes into you right after that and kills you.
Radiant are scanning.
And the scan hits.
Correct read of where Nande is currently farming. Look at the long way around. We'll clear the Ancients. Look to get the small camp next.
There's no men on
Kidari
Storm,
nearby
though.
level 3 Pugna. So what's Kidari really going to be able to do? Nande, is he okay? Oh no, okay.
He's definitely not
Miura is
okay.
here as well. Yeah, so I did see the Invoker along with Miura here. Eki, really just hope and pray that the Earth Spike's going to be enough, but that will do nothing. Maybe actually just puts himself in a position where they can look for the +1. So Eki steps a little bit too far close.
Top tower is under attack.
Giving over more kills, giving over more earn charges as well.
And I think that was just a really nice kind of calculated smoke by Beppu, which was Dragon Knight TP'd mid, and his only play in the game is he has to walk top to farm because he doesn't really want to go anywhere else. And so making the read that we're going to smoke into him where he's going to be. He also can't TP out of this gank. He's kind of stuck slowly going. Just getting that kill. Again, I was just saying that Dragon Knight's the guy who has to have moves in this game. His offlaner struggling a lot. Copy's having a decent game, but it's not the best Storm game. If he ever gets clipped by an EMP, his impact to the fight's going to be low. He can potentially get doomed. There's a Venge swap that will burn a lot of his mana for these kills. So a bit of a harder game for Copy, and Nande, I think, was supposed to be the one that was going to supplement that. But so far, everything's been Beppu.
Still the lead isn't kind of showcasing the strong start that they've had. It's only 1,000 at the moment. Honestly, we're kind of expected to be a little bit higher, but it feels like it's pretty close to getting to like a 3K mark. Maybe one pick off and then a couple of bounties or something with the map state. Maybe some towers going down. Kiyotaka mid lane. Tornado's going to make a good play. They're going to try and fiend skate in as well. So Yago looking to get off with the portal. Kiyotaka, can he step away? Copy's going to use all his mana. With the amplified damage, the question is can he escape? It doesn't make it to the low ground. It probably wouldn't have mattered in the end, considering Katsuomi was still holding the swap.
I mean, I'm going to say, thankfully, for Pipsqueak, they do get the Invoker. If they weren't able to get that kill, I think game disaster. But getting that kill kind of second, kill Yayo, I think it would have been a little better if Copy was able to get that, because he's the one that needs to have a decent game on the Storm. Because now look at his net worth. He's below the underling, who's been struggling so much.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Oh boy. And Nande as well, again, the person that you said has to have a solid game here from Dire, but is going to be swapped back into the Doom. The Tornado to let everyone close the distance. And then they're going to be able to utilize the first ult for the game. If be able to get in range though, with Invoker spells, they'll look to go back to top with this left.
I also think that something about Storm is one of the worst mids to actually have deaths on early game. Just deaths on in general because of his. Every time you die, you're losing mana regen, and you're becoming a weaker over. Versus a lot of the other heroes, it's like you can die once, it's fine. Kiyotaka doesn't lose anything by dying, just a little bit of gold, a little bit of time. But Storm's actively getting weaker every time that he dies.
Good lane. Because the Storm Poppy. Always fun. Lose high mana pool from an EMP.
Is under attack.
Just the base. I think that's honestly where a lot of his the reasoning for his low net worth is that just any time an EMP clips him, that's a wave he can't farm. That's a camp or two he can't farm. That's a TP you have to spend because walking to base and TP out, it's 100 gold every time. So every time Kiyotaka hits an EMP, it's actually just like minus 300 gold, minus 250 gold just on copy.
Bro, this is a T2 tower that they're just running right next to.
Oh, Kadaro just
They're at
dies
this
to
stage of the
EMP.
game that they don't need to worry about. They're going to swap Kadaro up to stop the life drain. Yayo's going to be dived
And Kadaro
along
is
with
alive.
Eki as well. Copy's going to try and move on over, but what can Copy do against the world? He gets the kill, but can he even get away? Deathling Blast sets up for the bushwhack. The spell casting, man. What a stand-in performance from Kiyotaka. Like GPK, they're big shoes to fill.
They're
but
looking for.
Yo, here's
Look at Kiyotaka. Look at this dive. No way they get
How
him.
did the tornado? They're gonna get him.
Oh,
Are you serious? Oh man, Kiyotaka.
Okay, Invoker is a slow hero, and they see him
It should not
walking
have happened.
under the. He's tanking a tier 2 tower, just walking in a straight line at DK, and he's getting caught on Nande. I know, yeah, it feels bad to show up to these plays and then have to leave as the carry, and especially this like one camp area. There's nothing close. You have to walk through your entire base. It takes like 30-40 seconds before you get to hit creeps again, but better than giving a kill to the enemy team, better than giving more vessel charges, more XP, more gold, and another. Ooh, I was gonna say Eki and can't juke enough.
It's crazy that you even had the concern of Radiant slow your side lane cause. Apparently, it doesn't matter with the
Not copy.
performance. Fully not. All right, on strike. Cool. Okay. Had me worried for a second. No way, not the tornado.
I mean, this is kind of just a slaughter right now. They're grouping up their heroes, I think, just in a much better way. And I don't think that Pipsqueak had okay lanes. Nothing great, nothing bad, but I think
Lane
definitely
maybe
just
actually not-
moving out of the lanes
Like,
much better.
A Doom that is going to be used over towards the Pugness, so not a lot of value.
Invokers here, though.
Kiyotaka will be able to use some spelled back die. Yayo's out of resources. Kiyotaka's just going to make it so frustrating with a Ghost Wall, Deafening Blast pushback. It means that no one else is going to be there to assist Copy.
There's even
He
a
just
shield
doesn't
to
have the
stay
damage
the
bike
hoodwink.
himself. They're going to give the shield, and he is out of trouble on save.
And he still lives.
Here
to the
to
finger.
zap down as well. It's not enough, dude. Save survives on 100 health. Kiyotaka. But it just happened previously. They dived onto a T2 tower down bot. Now top as well. They're going to be diving. This is just some of the bet boom games that we are so familiar with.
I mean, this is exactly their playstyle. It's post laning stage. Usually it starts in the laning stage, but every time I see it's 16, 17, 18 minutes of the game and there's a double-digit lead, the first team I'll think of right now is Betboom. And also just the kind of the margins they played on. Save in there, gets saved twice by Kiritich. He presses shield on him twice. Eki just tries to get a finger, like max range, lives with 70 health because of those shields. They're giving nothing away right now.
Attack. Dire's top tower is under attack.
What's even the comms like in a game like this? Like, how are you trying to construct something positive?
It's really hard. You're usually at this point saying that you can't team fight them, that you need to kind of split push, wait for an item. Usually, I think in this case, it's probably going to be a BKB for either the Dragonite or the Storm. And it's just hope you don't bleed too much. Maybe it's going to be the pipe for the Underlord. And a lot of the times, it gets a little quiet. And that's just not what you want to see. I think that Nande's, I think the blink is going to be too slow for him in terms of like damage wise. So I think he really needs to go BKB. He really needs to scale into a super hard right clicker, and they're going to need to find a way to make this game last another probably at least 30 minutes.
Oh boy. Okay. Which is going to put themselves in a bit of an awkward position then when you're going versus a late game Doom with more gold and levels.
Yeah, that is an issue. We talked about Bet Boom, they got a weak laning stage, but good heroes mid game, late game when they get their items. Yeah, what happens when that mid game's starting at 16 minutes in the game with a 12k lead, 18 minutes in the game now? And Kiyotaka, he's got his Ags finish. Doom has the BKB finished.
He's going to eat the Atos. They'll be able to get the pushback as well. They won't be able to get the perfect use of the chain control. Chuck his hands up the air from Miero, but also won't be able to follow through. So no one actually dies. It was an opportunity for maybe a call kill, but it's the way. But I mean, Kiritich is free farming top of the front of the T2 tower. Yayu is going to maybe chuck a Firestorm and look at defend, but Kiyotaka is going to be able to get a glimpse of him. And another hero that is not safe at all anywhere on the map.
Dire's top tower has fallen.
Thankfully for Pipsqueak, that is a lot of information. They saw, I think, 5 enemy heroes, so trying to spread out, get this entire bot jungle of the map, but every time you spread out, it's just opportunity.
And look at that from Kiyotaka. He just runs straight past Eki because they want to get the vision on where Nande was. They didn't care about the line. They knew that the DK was such a more valuable kill. Kiyotaka from top to bottom. I mean, the stand-in is just shot calling perfectly.
This is Kiyotaka's prime game. I think every time I see him and he's playing these aggressive spellcasters, he's playing the invokers, he's playing the embers, heroes with outplay potential, he looks like he's one of the best mids in the world. Even back, I think one of the notable heroes he got was Tinker, and his Tinker games was the I'm just better than you. I'm gonna click my spells better than you. You're never gonna be able to catch me. I'm just faster than you. And Invoker is right up there with being faster than you.
Yo, that's kind of nice. Kadari gets the snipe on the Manta Star along with the Ag shot on Kiyotaka, so a couple of big horrors. He's cutting mid.
And so Nande did go the blink. I just, like, yeah, it's very important on DK. I think he'll eventually get a blink. It's just scary because how do you fight into Invoker with Ag's Vessel and Abba Radiance, silencing, slowing you, Hoodwink Break, even the Doom? There's like so many things that I think he needs his BKB for. And the way this game is going, I don't know if he's going to have the time to farm an extra 4,000 gold.
No, because the pace is about to pick up.
Consider is this, if Pipsqueak lose this game, they're out of the running to make it to the next phase of this tournament. So for them, they can't call GG. They can't give up. They have to win this game. This is do or die for them, their lives in DreamLeague Season 27. And right now, it's looking like it's die.
It's looking like it's a horrible position for them to be in. Now, hang on, maybe there's an opportunity. Kiyotaka, they're going to be able to get a perfect opportunity to jump the Invoker. Completely isolated. They'll have the detection. He will not be able to get away. Meanwhile, the instant hex from Eki as well. Great reactions. Miora's still going to be able to activate the BKB, but he won't be able to get the Doom that he wants onto Copy. Copy's running for you. He's coming, but he won't be able to get in range. Domi does get the Nether Swap out to safety, but the pit's going to hold them all down. Still with the net worth disadvantage. How far do you want to push on Copy? Be careful, be careful. There's the Doom, but still, they'll get the kill. They'll also be able to catch up to Katsuomi as well. Copy. Is he going to be able to survive through the Doom? Looks like he'll tick out, but you got bigger problems with Kiritich starting to run down the remaining members. Pugner will step back in with the life drain. Kiritich, no borrowed time. What's, hang on. What's going on? Are they back?
I mean, that was the perfect fight for Pipsqueak. They catch Kiyotaka, just kind of isolated. And then they're going in one by one. I think Mero kind of went a bit too aggressive. If he was able to have his BKB up for the Doom duration, it would look a lot better. But Pipsqueak taking probably the best fight possible for them. Getting, what, 4 kills? I think they're killing all 3 cores. Pretty much the only one that survives is going to be Save's Hoodwink. And maybe one more of those, and the game's completely even. Even now, there's a bit of the hesitation going to come out for BetBoom, but still, I would say they're in the driver's seat. It's not completely thrown away. It's just, you're giving away like cracks, right? The cracks are starting to form, and it's whether Pipsqueak can keep kind of making them bigger or BetBoom's able to secure it. And I think a lot of it is now going to be on Aegis. The BetBoom's going to look to push out waves, get a pick off, smoke into the Aegis, and probably with that, it's going to make the game a lot harder.
We'll see them look to try and find this pick off here. It's going to be a 4-man smoke. And well, Kiyotaka's not going to join the team, but he does have the boots of travel. They're going to ping down bottom. So looking to sweep through the lane. And they are going to guess correctly pretty shortly if Copy and Kadaru continue with their current pathing. Try and actually go towards a triangle instead. No one's home currently. It's a 2-2 split from Dire. Kind of both, one of the supports playing with another core. But both of them will look to back away. They're actually going to go for their own smoke from Pipsqueak. And they contest Roshan. It's going to be a difficult fight. Now that reading, they've been able to build a formation. Kiyotaka is surely not going to be out of position for him to be jumped and killed off first.
Maybe it's jumping these supports or the Invoker. Invoker is the absolute best target you can jump. He has nothing defensive.
Copy, Smoke's going to
pop.
pop.
He's got a Venge behind him.
Gonna get the pit over towards the backline as well. Copy tries to give the information with a defensive wave. Will get Kiyotaka out to safety. They're still gonna try and run down the Invoker. Copper's gonna use some of the mana to close the distance, but it's not gonna matter. The Deafening Blast will push him away. Now further down in the south as well, but the Doom used over towards Nande. Nande is actually gonna be able to survive with the live gem. Gets him a little bit of bonus health back, but it's just not gonna be enough in the end. They've killed off the DK. They're gonna turn towards Copy next. Copy cannot stand his ground in Manfight. He's going to try and zip away in TP. He'll make it out, but everyone else will not have the same fate.
And it's a 4-for-1. The only one that goes down is Save. Using the buyback, sure, you force one buy, but you kind of see when they're in formation, it's so hard for Copy to get a good jump. He jumps the Invoker, instant swap. Nande goes in. They kind of use everything. You kill a Hoodwink. But just the Doom on the Dragon Knight makes it so hard for him to kite out the fight long enough. And I actually thought that there was a chance here. It was a really nice attempt by Pugna to kind of save him at the very end of Doom, but you're just feeling the net worth disadvantage. I think, like, the amount of items, the amount of damage, the amount of HP and kite that just is all around BetBoom. All 5 of their heroes are feeling strong. You need some mistakes to happen from BetBoom now. And something we see is the first Aegis is usually more of like a farming kind of map setup tool. But I think that, ooh, nice Glimmer to dodge the stun.
There's something here.
But usually this first Aegis is like the setup, right? And it's a lot about the second Aegis. I just think that they're so far ahead and it's a bit slower of a Roche. Sometimes we'll see it around like the 19-20 minute mark.
Bottom
that you actually are going to get these items and you can push high ground.
Nando's going to show on the wave. Dire may be close to respond. The BKB from Nande is kind of unsure of what to do. Eki's maybe seeing if there's an opportunity to turn and fight, but yeah, Nande, he wants nothing to do with this. He'll use his last remaining duration to walk on away. So they'll lose the line, but of course still using the BKB is pretty important considering 8-second duration. It's going to put it on cooldown for 75 seconds now, so they can probably go high ground.
This is such a sick performance from Kiyotaka. Like, always getting the catch, always getting such good spell casting.
With the ward inside the base, they know exactly where the Underlord is as soon as he steps too far forward. Your high ground defender is going to go down without the Firestorm to 100% give you an opening.
And even if they really wanted to fight, there's no Dragon Form for 30 seconds. So Nande is definitely feeling a bit weak. And that's at least one side, but what's stopping them from going for side number 2? I think the only thing that's slightly concerning if they want to relax is like it's the only way you can lose by going for the second side, but I think that just the game state means that they don't really care. They have the Manta to tank the tower. If they force this glyph, this game gets so stressful. Even just forcing this glyph and backing off means that in the next 5 minutes, you can choose to take mega creeps. You can choose to maybe force a throne when you win a team fight. All it means is the game is guaranteed probably over with one more fight.
It's going to have to be a perfect last fight here potentially then for Dire. In tournament lives, got to finish today at least 3-2. Have an opportunity with your final series tomorrow. Need a full 2 map count to be able to move over to playoffs. At the moment with an 18,000 deficit, this is a super difficult position to be in. 5% probability for the boys on Pipsqueak. I'm gonna smoke up here. And for the finishing blow, Betboom trying to put the nail in the coffin. The lane's in a pretty good position. Dire gonna leave the base. Kadaro drop the low high gun. Smoke's gonna pop.
They just need any catch for the side of Betboom. Any support jump, any core jump, anything that makes a fight happen, I think is going to be to their benefit. Whereas for the side of Pipsqueak, they're also the one that needs to jump, but their jump needs to be so perfect on the correct target in the correct way at the correct time. Whereas Betboom's like, oh, I see a guy, I jump him. Any fight we take is going to be a win. And I really like this kind of swap to bot. I think it's much more valuable that you take the bot tier 2 and open up the ability to get megas rather than just stick top, get your second side. Because the difference between one side and 2 sides is not that big if you're not able to get the mega creeps.
Oh, with the T2 going down now, it'll give them that open if they want to. They've got 45 seconds left on the ages on Kiyotaka. They're actually going to start to mass TP top where Radiant do have an observer ward inside the lane. We'll see Kadaro now.
He's looking for more.
By the looks of it. Is anyone going to stick around though? Kiyotaka's going to run straight past the Pugna. They don't
like
see
dies,
him
right?
using spells on the Pugna. I mean, surely he dies. But they're pitting in.
Oh.
Okay, meanwhile, yeah,
Kiyotaka finds Eki.
Kiyotaka did find Eki. I think he's okay. Is he
There's no
actually?
blink. He's going to have vision. Oh. Oh. What an annoying TP spot. It still means, though, that's the one death they needed, right? And now it's just a free tier 3. Probably a free Rax. Sure, Aegis expires, but Kiyotaka has so much backup between Abba shields, between the Venge swaps. And he doesn't ever need to walk up either. The Kiritich can just solo hit the high ground by himself with just Alacrity to buff him up. It's such a hard defense. But Copy's going to look for
It's all
something.
or nothing now. Yeah, they're going to try and smoke out of the base as well. But the rest of the team with the backline stab, how are they going to be able to find the opening? Nana's going to get the initiation. They're going to glimpse of Kiyotaka with a perfect opening with a sentry layer down. If they're going to have the damage for the save, they got him. Kiyotaka out of the team fight, but Nande as well is completely nullified thanks to Doom on Miera. He's going to be ran down. You don't have your carry. Copy's going to be held in place. Root will come out a second time thanks to the Atos on save. And the Underlord, he will get forced out to a little bit of safety. Turns with a pit. Copy's going to buy back. Nande as well is going to look to rejoin.
No, big dive.
All or nothing. Final defense. They're fighting on top of the Firestorm. It's going to be an ultra kill for Kiritich. Make it a rampage. He can look to move on forward to get the double rampage onto Eki. Can he just close the distance? Importantly, Nande as well out of the base. Gets the double red. Gets the triple with the Radiance burn. Oh my god, Kiritich. What a game ender fight there. Double diebacks. Kataomi and Save together. They're even actually going to be able to get the Fiends game. What's Kiritich is buying back now? He's going to be able to TP in the timing. Yep, exactly right. No buys. So he knows he can rejoin the game. Look to close this
GG.
out. The G's going to be called a stand-in performance. A hell of a performance from Kiyotaka. 13, 3, and 17, and everyone else from BetBoom gives them a 2-0 victory here.